Hello and welcome to BreviTV, where your reality is our business. So today we have a very distinguished member of the community who have attended over 20 super dream companies and finally nailed one really big one. So why don't you introduce us to yourself, Ashwin Sampath?
My name is Ashwin Sampath. Okay, you've really known me for 4 years and you can't spell my name correctly. Like, what's your problem?
I'm sorry, Ashwin Sampath. I'm sorry about that. So Ashwin, can we begin? So we're really proud to have you, Ashwin. So we have known that we have heard from you that you have attended over 20 super dream companies. Like even I've been watching you. You've been attending a lot of companies. You've even qualified in many, and like finally you've nailed one big one. So tell me about your experience about attending over 20 super dream companies.
Yeah, it was a tough process, to be honest, and little bit enjoyment as well, because you're competing in a very highly competitive environment. There are almost more than 500 or 600 people giving tests at the same time, and you're going and you're competing with a lot of people. Sometimes it's the same set as well, so you get to know how good is your problem solving, and you get to know how quickly you can solve as well. Even if you don't get into some companies at sometimes, I think it's fine, because it still boosts your confidence when you're competing and you get the question right.
Yeah. So if you have been selected in a super dream company, so you must have started your intern preparation early, right, for placements?
Not so early, but yeah, I think my proctor, she kind of warned us quite before. I think she warned us around Christmas, that's the December month, that it's better to start preparations having a gap of 6 months so that we can learn and revise it again. So she kind of wanted us to start it from December itself. So we started in December.
So we all had a mindset of regular placements where we go to Vellore or we attend placement from Chennai. But the Corona was a huge change for us, right? Even for you, it was like you might have noticed a difference, like about what expectations you had from placements before and after. So how did COVID, you think, affected placements in general?
Well, I think the first thing which I can think of is the competitiveness. When you are sitting in a hall with 100 people, whatever happens, I think the embarrassment of not leaving as the first person who doesn't want to give up. So that never say die attitude comes in you. So you don't easily give up and you sit and solve how much ever you could. So that's the first thing which environment with 100 students does give to you. But now sitting at home, in front of the laptop, now you can just try, and in case if it doesn't really work, you can give up easily. So that's something which I feel has a psychological effect according to Corona. Because of Corona, that has a psychological effect. And second thing is probably the net connection as well. You don't know, because in hostel, in case if any problem happens, in case if any server problem happens, you can go and report to your teacher or whosoever is the examiner. But suppose something happens at your home, you can't even say that you had such problems within your home, and you can't basically take the retest. So that major examination problems will be here and there. So apart from that, I think it's pretty much down to individual and his preparations on how he gives the test. There's only two which I feel. One, in case any emergency, you can't really report, and the first is obviously the urge to not give up and sit in a very competitive environment and code.
So let's start with when the placement started. The first companies to come were slot 1 super dream companies. The very first company was, I remember, Udaan company and Amazon. So you didn't qualify in the initial stages though. So were you nervous when you weren't qualifying for a period of time? Were you like disheartened? What gave you the motivation to continue preparing?
Okay, initially it was very, very depressing. I'll get this straight. Initially it was very, very depressing, and I was very much disappointed, lost sleep as well, because I prepared for almost 4-5 months, in fact more than that, and to not really get into the next round was very, very disappointing. But I did a little bit of soul searching. I was very clear in my thought after 6-7 companies have gone. So I just said to myself that imagine for a second that these companies are not really companies and you just have a coding test to pass. So in that case, in case if I just have a coding test to pass and if I get the questions right, then that is a confidence booster, right? That cannot be a demoralizing effect for not getting selected into the next round. If you're given a question, if you could solve a question, that's it. It is a confidence booster. So there is nothing to be demotivated as such, there's nothing to be demotivated regarding your preparations when you're getting the questions right. Of course, there's little bit when your dream gets shattered because you want to go into the highest companies. So your dream little bit of gets shattered, but yeah, it's okay. We can have another dream.
That's great. So every time you fail a company before, every time you pick something from it. So what did you learn? What do you find common in all these companies? Like, do you think slot 1 super dream test is different from slot 2 super dream test? Like, is there any similarities between all these companies as in form of tests, placement test?
Well, I can't really generalize every year, but this year we have seen a lot of companies came for software developers. In general, people, they tend to focus a lot more towards machine learning and artificial intelligence when they are in third year or so, and try to learn that as much as possible. Basically, data science. They tend to learn data science as much as possible. But this year we have seen that companies more often than not came for the software engineer role rather than the data science role. So that is something which is really common, and I would also suggest people to work on web development or any app development. Even if they are doing any data science related project, I want them to actually translate that into a proper app which can be useful later on. They can work with it. So one thing which was common is the role for which the companies came. And the technologies as well. Some companies came with really the latest technologies. They were using React, they were using Node.js and latest technologies. They were using frameworks as well and REST APIs and all. So that was also pretty common. The companies were coming with high-end technologies and they required familiarity in that. And some companies which are coming for a software role, they also asked us to make an application, a front end, and as a complete application and submit. So some companies were also very keen on that rather than only the data structure part.
Okay, if you can name one most important topic when it comes to placement, just one word, what will you name? Which comes to your mind first?
Actually, data structures, to be honest.
Data structures.
Important. It's not exactly data structures, but I would like to say problem solving using data structures.
So Ashwin, we are really happy to have you here. So as I recall, you got selected in Deutsche Bank.
Yeah, it's Deutsche Bank. Thank you.
That's beautiful. So Ashwin, can we start our mock interview round?
Oh yeah, with pleasure, man.
So good morning, Ashwin.
Good morning, sir.
So Ashwin, tell me about yourself.
Sir, myself, Ashwin Sampath, currently pursuing 4th year computer science in VIT Institute, Chennai. I have done my internship in Gale India Limited with ABAP and WebDen Pro. I have a strong aspiration towards all computer science related technologies, whether web or whether data science. I'm also a chess player who have played for Delhi region when I was in 12th standard.
Wow, so you're actually playing for Delhi chess, huh?
Yes, sir, yes.
That's very interesting. So Ashwin, I was looking through your resume. You have a very good CGPA, so you must be good at academics, right?
Yes, sir. I think a lot of credit goes to my friends as well. Because we all sit and study together, we all learn together, we share notes together. So it's more of a teamwork than personal work. So credit has to be given to them as well.
So Ashwin, I assume you'll be very good with technical skills because you have been saying you've been preparing. So can we start our technical round?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
So are you familiar with object-oriented programming?
Yes, sir, I do.
So this is going to be your first question. What are the 4 pillars of object-oriented programming?
Four pillars of object-oriented programming are abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism.
Good, Ashwin. So you know how to code all these object-oriented programming questions?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do.
So what language do you like to use to generally code questions or any problems?
Sir, I'm always a learner, so I'm actually okay with any languages which the company uses at the moment. There's not really much of a personal preference, but given a chance, I would actually say anything is fine. And since I've been learning C++ right from my 11th standard, I'm okay with C++.
Oh, good. So you're good with C++. So since I assume you are also familiar with Java programming. Are you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have been taught Java in our third year.
Okay. So can you tell me the difference between Java and C++?
Can I start with Java, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Java was basically aimed to make its own type of environment. Like for example, if you are executing a C++ file in a Windows operating system or a Linux operating system, the output file will be different from each other. Whereas Java runs in its own virtual environment. It has its own virtual environment, which is called JVM, and it has its own runtime environment also, which is called JRE. Whenever a Java file is executed, after compiling, it gets converted to the bytecode, which is so-called its output, and henceforth it is platform independent. Whereas C++ is platform dependent.
Good. So, what language do you use to code data structures?
Sir, I have been practicing in C++.
Okay. So, I'll give you one question. Tell me what data structure will you use to solve this question. If I have an array of any numbers, I want you to find
an array. Can I take a note, sir? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
can
sure,
I take a note?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. We have an array
of any random numbers.
Okay.
I want you to find all the unique elements in an array. What data structure will you use to solve this?
Okay. Okay, sir. So to go direct to the question, in case if we want to just find unique elements in the array, then we can use sets. It can handle duplicates its own. We just have to push every number in the array into the sets, and it will handle duplicates as usual, and then we can return the set size saying the number of elements, or we can print the set elements to say the number of unique elements. In case if we want to further improvise this, let's say we need to also have the count of how many elements occurs, how many times an element occurs, then we can as well use an unordered map or an ordered map to have its count. Or in case if we cannot have any other data structure or to use, or in case we have any space we can't give another space in case we have space complexity, then we can however sort the array itself, and we can just check the adjacent elements. If they are same, then it means they are the same numbers, otherwise we can just keep moving.
Good, Ashwin. So can you just solve this this problem with just array? You can, right? With the second approach you just said.
Yes, sir. We can.
So Ashwin, are you good with puzzles?
Yes, sir. I'll try my best. I'm not really sure, but I'll try my best.
I have a question for you. So we have 3 boxes, and one box contains just apples, one box contains just oranges, one box contains apples and oranges, and each of these boxes are labeled, but all of the boxes are labeled wrongly. So how many times will you need to check the box to find which box belongs to which label?
Okay. So we need to reorder all the 3 boxes correctly because they are wrongly labeled, right, sir?
Yes. We need to correctly relabel them in the end.
Okay. Sir, I think we can just go with one box. Because let's say if one box we are opening, it's obviously wrongly labeled. So whatever title is present in that box, we will shift this title to that box. And for that box, whatever the title is labeled, that will also be labeled wrongly. So we can just switch it up and we can arrange everything accordingly.
So what box will you open first?
We can open any box, or any box. For example, for instance, let's say if I open Apple box, let's say if I open a box which is named as Apple, since it is wrongly labeled, let's say we are opening Apple, but it is orange. So now we take Apple and we go and keep where Apple and oranges will be, because we open Apple, inside orange is there. So if we have to go for orange, we know that orange will be labeled Apple and orange. Because orange can't be labeled Apple, then Apple and orange will be labeled correctly. So we open Apple, we notice that it is orange. So we take Apple and we change it with apples and oranges. And we order accordingly.
Good, Ashwin. So let's move on to the next round. It's going to be database related question. So you have a table, regular database, table in a database. So you have two attributes, name and age. Now I want you to help write a query to print the second oldest row in the table, the second oldest name in the table.
We basically need to get the name of a person who has the second highest age, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we can do something like I can tell you my thought process. So we can do something like we can select the top two according to the descending value of age, and then we can just get the second row and then print his name. So it will be select name from the table, whatever the table is, from the table name, and then we are going to order by age descending, and then we are going to limit it to 2, and then we are going to give one more a where clause where the row number is going to be 2.
Okay, good. So let's move on to the HR questions. It's going to be related to your resume. So I've seen your resume, you mentioned your hobbies are to play cricket, carom and games like that. So you must have experience working with teams a lot, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do.
So how's the team management skills? Like suppose if you want to work on a project with our team, so if you have any issue with any member, how do you solve some issue? If you have an issue with a member in our team?
First things is I'll try to be practical. I'm someone who stays in the present rather than looking at the past. So I'll try to be practical as much as I can possible. So in case if I have a problem with someone, if I'm facing the problem with someone, first I'll try to sort it out. So in order to sort it out, I think I need to understand what or how is the mental state of the other person is. So I need to put myself in his shoes and understand the situation, talk to him and probably try to know his situation on what he's in, how he's feeling or where is exactly space is, and then try to understand him as much as possible and then try to solve it. In case, as I've already told, if we have a problem, so in case if that person doesn't really talk to me, then I'll try to see whether that person doesn't talk only to me or with my entire team. Because if he doesn't talk only to me, but if he is okay with other persons, then I think communication can still happen. I can pass the information to someone in my team and then they can subsequently pass to him. But in case if he is not only having problems only with me, but with the entire team, then I would actually take feedback from my team and give another shot to probably include him in our team and try to give tasks so that he can be engaged in our team. And even if that fails, then I'll go and report to the HR.
Good. So based on your skills, or not just your skills, your personality, name one thing which is your biggest strength and one thing you might think is your biggest weakness.
Strength, I think, sir, is my adaptability. It's quite based on real life experience. I have lived in Chennai, I've lived in Delhi, I've lived in Andhra, So I have been through various cities. I've lived in various cities. I've understood different people and I've understood different cultures as well. So I think I can easily adapt to people, and subsequently I can understand them much better because I love spending time with people, love knowing different cultures. So I can say that my strength has been adaptability and confidence as well. A little bit confidence. I'm not really an introvert. So my strength has been my adaptability and my confidence to speak out what comes in my heart. So this has been quite my strength. And my weakness, actually I can say, is sometimes I keep going to the past and try to always think, in hindsight, what else I could have changed. It's good because, looking back in hindsight, now you can come up with solutions where you cannot repeat in future. But if you keep going to the past again and again, sometimes it might demoralize you and take your day away as well. So that is something which I can say is my weakness. So little bit of overthinking, which I think I should handle. So emotionally, I should be a little bit strong. So I'm working on my emotional skills right now. But apart from that, yeah, I don't think.
So, Ashwin, so you have been working on a lot of interesting projects, as I see here, a lot of machine learning related projects. So what's the biggest thing which you learned from all these projects? Like, were you able to? The most important thing is, were you able to work in a group in all these projects? Because
yes, sir. I did work for IoT project. It involved 5 people.
So, did you have any leadership opportunities in any of these projects, or in your entire life, do you have a good leadership role in any?
I had leadership. I can't really say leadership role, but I think I was a key member in the group. Whenever we are in the group, I think it's very much important for anyone to understand that everyone are same and everyone are equal, irrespective of who's the leader and who's not. Everyone should be given equal responsibility and equal importance in the group. So even as a leader, I think it's important to understand everyone and give them equal importance and give equal tasks to them to make feel special. So yes, I was involved in one such instance in my life, in many such instances, but one recently. So it actually required a little bit of not only, I would say, skill, but also a little bit of sitting with your group mates and letting them know the sources and helping them, basically giving a shoulder to rest upon. So that is something which was involved a lot, because we had mixture of students from computer science, ECM and ECE. So we had to gather everyone and make them understand, learn Python, its frameworks, little bit of machine learning as well. So yeah, it involved a little bit of stress, but it was fun.
Okay, Ashwin, very good answer. So this is going to be our last question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
It's a tough question for me to answer, to be honest, because I've already told you that I am someone who lives in the present and looking in the future on what can I do. In 5 years, I actually want to be one of the best employees in the in your company. In your company, I really want to be one of the best and try to contribute as much as I can. And in case if I am rewarded with my performance, I'm quite happy to take it. And I would also like to lead a team and work on a project. But yeah, everything is for future. At the moment, I would really like to contribute howsoever I can to the company.
That's great, Ashwin. We had a really good experience talking with you. So we'll get back to you. Oh, what a valuable time we had with Ashwin. So a gift hamper containing of Lifebuoy soap and a sanitizer will be sent to your doorstep, Ashwin. So thank you, Ashwin, for the great sport and sharing valuable hacks like what you just did today. Your name will be forever written on BreviTV. And so if you have any closing remarks, you can convey to your viewers.
Well, share knowledge, guys. Share as much as possible. Even when you're preparing, don't think that you have to be so much competitive in placements. Yes, you have to be, but at the same time, knowledge, when it is shared, it's the best. When you share knowledge with someone, they also share back to you. That's how you learn. That's how you keep learning. That's how you compete, when you have to really know what the other friends are doing as well. Work in group, work in team, and don't be hesitant to say what comes in your heart when you're preparing for an interview. Just be yourself and don't panic much and say whatever it feels right.
So, all folks, that's today's episode of BreviTV. So, again, thank you, Ashwin, for coming here. We had an amazing time with you.
I also had an amazing time, and thanks for the opportunity, and the pleasure is mine as well. Thank you so much.
So, Sainath, you mentioned that your hobbies include racing. Is it true?
Yeah. Yeah, I like to break the laws sometime.
So, who's your favorite racist?
Oh, you, man. All right, I'm out of here.